we chose ICP because ICP, differently from the other blockchains, has at first another paradigm of development. First of all, you are developing using Rust, Motoko, but those kind of languages build and compile in WebAssembly. This allows us to do many of the things that other blockchains does not allow us to do. For example, one thing is how you actually write the code and so how much the execution of a specific script can actually last. But there's another important thing, which is storage. In our case, it's something that was important and necessary for what actually we're trying to do. So we are actually adapting this way, not using some sort of piñata, IPFS, which actually are wrappers, okay? We're actually using totally blockchain for the whole storage of data and documents. Moreover, another important thing is that the ICP allows us also to store on the blockchain the front-end application that you use to see those data and documents. And this is actually important because if you think that a window right now has a life cycle of 30 years, 30, 40 years, I don't know if in 30, 40 years I still be here in this world, but for sure, using ICP, we can enable to have that product and specifically that window and those information about the window on the blockchain for at least 30 years.
Welcome back, guys. Today I'm here with Federico Costa, who's the founder of Posacheck, a company that operates in the supply chain sector and leverages the ICP technology. So the first question for you, Federico, is what is Posacheck and what's the main problem that you're solving?
Well, let's start with an important question. So Posacheck, what is it? And the startup actually aims to do something specifically, and it is to track the way of how windows are installed into buildings. I know that maybe it sounds strange at the beginning, and personally, I can understand. Actually, I come also from the tech environment, and so when I actually heard this problem at the beginning was something for me like super strange. But the fact is that behind this kind of a thing that we're actually trying to solve, there is a super huge market. Okay, so what we are trying to do now is to leverage the technology of the blockchain and specifically the one of ICP to actually make certifiable and also to enable to track and enable maintenance and blah 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 about specifically the Windows. Why this? You made me wonder. Actually, it's because the window industry, you actually purchase a window which maybe has a price between no, 1,000 to 10,000. But when you actually want to install it, maybe it has some technical performances, but when you want to install it, and you actually ask to a specific maybe operator to do that, this kind of operation, and maybe the installation is done in the wrong way. And most of the times this actually happens. So the installation is made wrong, And so you maybe purchase $10,000 of a window, but the result is that it's kind of like having just a glass on the wall without anything. So it's losing all the technicalities that you actually purchased. So the installation process is critical. And in the Italian market, this is actually a huge problem right now. So what we are trying to do is to cover this issue here at start, but our aim is to cover the entire Europe industry, specifically in this kind of problem.
Okay. And what do you exactly use ICP for, and what are the features of ICP that you use within your product?
Well, ICP, we chose ICP because ICP, differently from the other blockchains, has at first another paradigm of development. First of all, you are developing using Rust, Motoko, but those kind of languages build and compile in WebAssembly. This allows us to do many of the things that other blockchains does not allow us to do. For example, one thing is how you actually write the code and so how much the execution of a specific script can actually last. But there's another important thing, which is storage. On ICP, we can store not only data, but also documents, pictures, PDF. So in our case, it's something that was important and necessary for what actually we're trying to do. So we are actually adapting this way, not using some sort of piñata, IPFS, which actually are wrappers, okay? We actually using totally blockchain for the whole storage of data and documents. Moreover, another important thing is that the ICP allows us also to store on the blockchain the front-end application that you use to see those data and documents. And this is actually important because if you think that a window right now has a life cycle of 30 years, 30, 40 years. I don't know if in 30, 40 years I still be here in this world, but for sure, using ICP, we can enable to have that product and specifically that window and those information about the window and the application to read those information on the blockchain for at least 30 years.
Okay. And do you want to share a bit more details about the type of documents and information that you store on ICP?
See, for sure. So um, let's start by actually understanding a bit what we are tracking down. So when right now what we need to track is we are tracking the information of the window and like when it is being produced, from whom, what kind of spare parts does it use, and some information like documents about the certification it has obtained, the certification of like European certifications. So in this way, we are having the product info plus the installation process. Right now, we are starting super light. So our idea is that you just, as an installer, you take a screenshot, so not a screenshot, you take a picture of the window hole, so where you're gonna install the window, and then you start by taking pictures of the process you are doing. So top left corner, I applied all the foam and everything that you actually need to apply. So in this way, what I'm doing is that I'm tracking down what I'm doing. And if it's done right, well, that's okay. All those information are then stored into ICP blockchain. So when I click save as an operator, those data are actually persisted into the blockchain. And this allows us also to later, maybe let's say five years later, to have the customer that maybe actually purchased the windows or the one that who lives into the building, that access to those information, and also if maybe there's a need to have some sort of maintenance, it can directly ask to the producer or to some service provider. Also, you can in this way know if there's something specifically to solve and fix because maybe some of the process was not actually done correctly. To do this, every window that comes out from the factory has a QR code, and that QR code points directly to our own ICP application. So in this way, you can actually directly access only to your window.
By the way, guys, if you want to buy ICP or other tokens, the best platform today is BYDFI, as it offers the lowest fees in the industry. They are my favorite exchange platform, and I've partnered with them to bring you a $50 reward just for completing KYC once you sign up. So all you have to do in order to win $50 is to provide your ID after registering to the platform. In addition, you will earn 10% on your deposit amount, an additional $200 reward if your trading volume reaches $300,000 in futures contracts. This is just for a limited time, so go below this video right now, check the description, and click on my BYDFI affiliate link to get access to the exclusive bonuses that I negotiated for you.
And also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I understood that this also solves some problems for the producer of the Windows, because if the installation is made wrong, the producer also may be basically
Yeah.
accused, right?
Sometimes actually this is one of the problem that this market is facing a lot. So um, one of the goals of our product, Posacheck, is also to give a sort of protection for window producers. How does it work? Currently, a Windows producer creates the window, but at the end, it's not that producer that installs the window, but a third party, like an artisan. Um, it maybe can do that, and so without actually caring of all the necessary safe guidelines and processes and short and right path of operation that are required to do the specific work in the proper way. So the result, what is it? That maybe you have, because of this, some modes in the corner of your room. You feel wind, you feel cold without maybe having to. You just see the window which is closed, but you actually feel cold. Or maybe you actually feel all the loud noises coming from outside. So you're angry because actually you purchased a good window. They sold that actually has so many good stuff, but you're not feeling those technical beauties that actually purchase, right? So what you do, you go and put into trial, you actually drag into the court the producer of Windows, but actually he has not any kind of responsibility, or maybe it's not its own fault directly, but he has from the European law co-responsibility with the Windows installer. So our product allows directly the Windows producer to check the installation. And if it's done correctly, all good. If it's done not correctly, you can actually raise the hand, oppose itself on that. So in this way, it actually gets more protect from the situation of being dragged into the courts.
Right. And did you already onboard some producers or installers onto your product?
Yes, we have already producers and a distributor that also installed the Windows. So there are two different kind of categories of customers. The producers, as we said, they want to give more value to their own product. They want to also enable to have direct communication, contact with their end user. So this way, they install the QR code directly in each window. The distributor, from the other side, it has different vendors, so it has different products already in its own warehouse. So what it does is that to diversify itself from the others, it decides to apply QR codes, track down the information, and store them. So we have two different categories. One that maybe wants more to create a bind with the end user, the other one that wants to emphasize its own professionalities and the service. Okay, so right now we have these kind of customers.
Right. And based on their feedback, what was the features that they appreciated more and convinced them to use your application?
Well, first of all, for the right now, consider that that's a market that does not innovate a lot into the technical processes. So they innovate maybe on the product itself, but not into the processes. This is why we found opportunities here. From them right now, it's huge. The fact that they can store those data information and have them stored like for decades. And also the fact that using this simple tool without actually impacting in the whole supply chain or what they actually do and how they create the Windows itself, they can easily gain much more value from every window they sell. So this is actually the thing that they look and see in Posacheck as stunning.
Right. And would you like to share some data about the market of installations of Windows and doors?
Well, yes. It's fun, but consider that only the Italian market values at 8 billion euros per year. 8 billion euros is kind of like $8 billion that for the ones that doesn't know the change. But that's actually the value of this market specifically. It's a huge market. And I'm just talking about Windows right now. If you're going to see in Europe, Europe is 36 billion, 36. Okay. Consider that the Windows itself is one of the assets that in the whole European Union has an importance, also in the global world, because actually, besides the door, is the only thing that connects the outside with the inside of a building. Okay, so it's huge. If you maybe want to also lower the impact of like heating condition during the winter or the cooling conditions during the summer, you need at first to isolate better your buildings. And so if you have a wall, fantastic, but you need to have a good window installed in the proper way. So this is actually the eye we're focusing on. Consider that is not the only market where we want to operate. There will be others. But the main issue is totally on the installation process that we want to solve and to give more value to the product itself that is sold directly to the customers.
Right. And would you like to show us a demo of your application?
Yeah, with pleasure. I would like to show you two things. One is the MVP that we have also made with the Lugano incubator. So to show you what I'm talking about. Second thing is that as you maybe understand for sure, you maybe have realized that thinking about a construction builder, an artisan of like 50 years old, 40 years old, that is not technical, seeing maybe an authentication using internet identity will be actually a mess for them. So what we actually worked on also during this period is to create a connection to allow us to identify into the ICP blockchain, but using SSO providers, so Google, Facebook, Microsoft. So in this way, we are simplifying the process of um, onboarding of new customers. Thing which is important to achieve this, we get the help also Luca Bertelli. So thanks to him also, we be able to make this kind of connection. Anyway, let's get into the technicalities. I want to show you something. So let's see that together, and I will also later show you the SSO authentication. So first of all, let's get into this one. Okay. And I think we should be able to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now what we are seeing together is a home page, a dashboard that opens up when I scan with my phone a QR code of my window. So let's say I open the window on the lateral side, I see a QR code, I scan it, and it opens me up this dashboard specifically. This dashboard shows to me different cards like product information, documents of the product, the CE, like the certification of European certification, maintenance documents, and installation informations. Consider which is in Italian because right now I'm using an Italian browser, but it translates directly to English if in other case. So as a normal user, I can just browse and see data about what I'm actually watching on. I can actually fetch, as said, the documents. So maybe I can download here the technical sheet of this window, and I can also go and see. Let me just um, go into maintenance document. I can download it. So think about that. 10 years from now, you open your window if you move on the back of your seat, you have the QR code, you scan it, you have the maintenance information, you can download it easily. Okay. It's super cool because it's actually the demanding of how to do something and you can achieve it in 1 second specifically. Everything here that you see, both data and documents, everything is stored on blockchain. And as mentioned, there are also the installation processes. But now I have some showcases just to show you. So it's like a demo right now. So in this way, we can ask specifically what we want to have. So in this case is the top left corner of the window specifically. And we asked for the picture. So the picture then is spaced Right now, I know that it's just a bad way to showcase the pictures, but it's something that we have worked on. This is just an MVP that I'm showing right now. So allowing this, we can see the picture and everything is still on blockchain and persisted over there. One important thing is that every data that we are tracking is like having the identity behind. So if the installer wants to do the installation, we need to know who he is, okay? So to do that, we need to authenticate him. But if we're gonna ask him, authenticate yourself using ICP, Internet Identity, I know that it's easier for us to think about the fact that you just need to memorize a number and the fingerprint. But for a normal user, this is a mess. They are actually used to log with email, the password. So here comes the work that we did with Luca Bertelli, which is implementing the ALF0 SSO authentications. This allows us directly to authenticate the user, so it's easy for him to authenticate itself and be able to use and browse and experience the whole application. I'm now preparing the environment to do this. So let me just show you. So right now, if I go here, as you can see also, we are changing also the design system. We are using another one, so another new UI. But the thing is, I go to login, and then if I go with login with Alpha0, right now you've seen just a refresh, but it's because directly the system has authenticated behind my account. So right now I have the account, which is authenticated using, in my case, Gmail specifically. But behind, it's creating a specific principal ID using the blockchain technology. So using this, ICP has the authentication. With my own account, I can authenticate. Plus, since we have some privacy information that needs to be stored not in the ICP canister, but on a private environment, the same SSO account, so with the JWT and all the session information, can both be used by both ICP and the server itself. So that's actually how we are managing this specifically. And I think that, which is important because we are not working with early adopters or technical guys, but more as like the normal person that you met around the street. So we need to make it easier for them to use this kind of application.
Right. Thank you very much, Fede, for the demo. And I wanted to ask you, how do you think that ICP is going to change the supply chain sector?
Well, this is a good question. So I try to share my own thoughts about that. So, in my own opinion, we need to see how everything is changing. So, on my opinion, there's going to be different products in there that actually manage the supply chain. So, and many of these will not only use ICP, but will also use other blockchains. So, I see already some of them using the EVM blockchain, so the one based on Ethereum. What I see as a value for ICP is that because a product maybe can have multiple data layers in different blockchains, ICP, due to the fact that it can directly interact with other blockchains, maybe can become the hub of those data. So like an aggregator. So I see that as a point of connection, not only just as the way we are using right now for Posacheck, which is main environment, main database, main storage of our own application, but also as a point that connects to others. So let's think about maybe my window. I can see the information about my window, but maybe the iron inside the wood used has another tracking chain, which is on another blockchain specifically. And ICP can actually connect and fetch those data from there. So this is actually what I'm seeing as an evolution in this whole sector.
Yeah, this really makes sense. And many times when I interview founders, they mention interoperability as one of the main features and strength of ICP. And the last question for you, Fede, is what's your roadmap from here going forward?
Oh, okay, good question. So um, I can talk many days about the technical roadmap, and I know maybe sometimes it's actually something interesting for user to hear. But the fact that I learned doing the entrepreneuring all this time is that you maybe have ideas of what you want to have as features, but you need to be stuck as much more into the market because it's the market that gives you what it's required for them. So I would tell you an entrepreneur roadmap that what is actually what we are doing right now. So our goal right now is to follow uh, not so much customers. So right now, like five to just see how they behave, how they're using the product, and receive their feedbacks. From that, we are focusing only to improve the product itself. This is why we implemented the SSO login. This is why we're implementing new kind of also um, design system. So it's a focus that we are doing right now. Once the product is ready, we can scale in the sell part. So we go to market more and more and more. And using that hint, so we're gonna have a product which is much more robust, we can maybe add new features during time. And for sure, there's gonna be from maybe involving AI for some kind of reasoning, like also to check how the work is done, to add any kind different other new ways of manage the construction site. So connecting not only on the window itself, but also on the whole project that you are actually doing. So this is the focus. But we need to see from what the market tells us. So this is the focus right now. Also, after done the validation with the first five customers that we are doing right now, our idea is also to open a little fundraise to have some more funds to only to have more the independency of pushing the market strategy and the go-to-market activities. So when actually this is achieved, I think it's a goal of pure execution. And yeah, I see this as my currently roadmap right now.
Thank you very much, Federico. And I wish you good luck with your project and your roadmap because it's very ambitious. I will leave the link to Posacheck and your social media in the description so that users can check out your product. And yeah, guys, I think that's all for today. Thanks for watching. And if you want more interviews like this one, don't forget to like, subscribe, and see you in the next episode.